All right, ladies, we are back. Week 2 of Elite. Woo! All right, let's get into it. So, chapter 6 through 10. In the sewers, Joy and a maintenance crew are ambushed by an unknown species called Nagas, tall, four-armed, sword-wielding humanoids with snake tails who turn to dust when killed. They've never been recorded before, raising fears of new threats from other continents. Later, Joy accepts a date with Josh, a Simon, but guards her secrets about her village and special missions. Their conversation reveals key differences between Hunter and Simon upbringings, and Josh explains the risk of forming psychic emotional bonds. While on solo patrol, Joy fends off kobold-like creatures that damage city infrastructure and discovers the body of a Simon, prompting a secret Psy-Corps investigation. Her uncle privately admits there have been other mysterious Simon deaths and asks her to keep him informed. Soon after, Hammer and Steel warn that Ace, the former hunter who tried to kill her, may have been influenced by Simon Powers. During a major battle in Bensonville, Joy lures dangerous beasts away from civilians, but a mysterious folk mage warns her that her enemy still has allies. Moments later, Ace escapes from military custody, leaving Joy racked with guilt for not passing on the warning sooner. Back at HQ, Joy's hound Baya comforts her, affirming the deep bond between hunters and their hounds. Public anger at Ace's betrayal grows, but Joy notices fellow hunter Retro seems detached. Kent confirms Ace defected to the Othersiders, moving Joy to safer quarters. A walk with Josh in plain clothes offers some normalcy, but Joy still worries about his loyalties if a conflict would arise between her and the Psy-Corps. Later, Joy trains Mark Knight in magic with Hammer and Steel's help. Kent stages an informal character test for Mark, probing his reasons for becoming elite. Joy recognizes the real trial is about integrity, not just skill. On patrol again, Joy learns from her hounds that Ace rarely engaged with them, unlike her. A secret message from her masters warns that the Simon death was likely not accidental. Ace's defection is tied to a larger Othersider plan, and the mysterious folk mage's warning is unprecedented. They urge her to trust her hounds as the threats evolve. Ladies, 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 ladies. First impressions. Cam, why don't you grace us with your first impression first?
That was a lot.
A lot.
I can't say I was surprised that Ace did what he did. It was a very Ace thing to do. Because what did I say last time we read Hunter? He's the biggest dick to have ever dicked ever. And I see nothing has changed. Other than the fact that he got less hounds and no friends. So I can't really say anything that we read this week shocked me because the people who did the shocking things are people that you would expect it from. But I was very proud of Knight for standing on business about his girl. He got snaps for me. That was big T. I was very happy about that. And then the fact that one, he reached out for help, but then he also got other people to help. I thought that was really cool. And that Mark was acceptive of the extra help. I was really happy about that. And then it all tied together when the big boss was like, okay, yeah, I'll accept it. It's all good. So I think it was a good week, but I can't really say I was surprised by anything that happened. So I yield.
Okay, that's fair enough. Glenna, first impressions, ma'am.
Um, I can't say that I'm surprised. Again, I agree with Cam on that. I don't think that I don't think she needs to feel guilty about concealing or hesitating when dealing with her folk mage, because she still doesn't know why the folk mage is doing what he's doing. And she definitely knows how it would be perceived if she were to be found cavorting with the folk mage. So I think in this particular instance, while she feels guilty, she made the right decision of keeping her mouth shut. Um, but yeah, I'm happy. I'm definitely loving the interactions with Mark. I definitely love the training sessions, and I love that, Hammer and Steel just kind of walked in and are like, okay, let's do this. And, they they acknowledge the fact that he's wanting to learn and grow, and they're willing to help him succeed in that. And I love that. And with that, I yield.
Yes, good stuff, good stuff. Mother, first impressions, ma'am?
I'm going to say I actually am like the ladies. I'm not surprised in the path in which we are going. I am in agreement that um, I really did like that Knight decided to try out for Elite because he was already a loner. I mean, despite his reasonings that he gave for trying out, I like the fact that because he was a loner and he was really good at what he's doing, he figured, hey, why not try out for Elite? I got all this other stuff I want to get accomplished. And, why not? He's really good. So he would technically, in my mind, should have been an Elite anyway. And I really appreciate the relationship that the twins and Joya have, and that she needed someone to relate to other than Knight, because Knight at this point was the only person she had trusted. And I mean, even though it wasn't a 100% trust, she trusted him more than anybody else there. And now you see that bond is growing also with the twins, so much so that their relationship or their feelings toward her are so strong that they was like, oh, you working with a brother? Hey, come on, we got you. We gonna work with him too. And that's what I really, really liked to see in this next transition. Now, as far we all know, Ace was gonna do what he did, but Retro to me is a little suspect. And he started out with the casual flirting. Um, but he's the only person that's totally unbothered by what just happened with Ace. And his reasoning is, well, why should I waste my energy? But you have no concerns whatsoever that someone who has as much infinite knowledge as he has about everybody's life is now out on the run, and what everyone believes to be is working for the other side. You have no feelings whatsoever toward that. Yeah, that made me a little concerned. Not that it's not a big red flag, but it's a flag. So yeah, because I mean, even the people that was not close to him had some thoughts, and had some initial concerns. Like, wait, hold on, he criminal. He tried to kill somebody because he got pissed, and he out here running free. That yeah, and he know all of our intimacies because he was one of us. Yeah, I'd be a little concerned, just a smidgen. Even though I know he ain't after me, but then why is he not? Why would you not be concerned? Was you helping him? Was you on the inner circle? So I just have a little concerns about Retro right now because he was quick to roll up on a girl and be like, hey, we ought to be dating. And after his response to Ace escaping made me feel like, oh, you were trying to get close to Joy for a reason, other than you were simply attracted. And then it just made me feel like he had an ulterior motive. So for that, I was a little nervous about him. But other than that, we're on the trajectory I felt we would be on at this point in the book. And with that, I yield.
Really good points, Mom. Really good points. Um, in response to your suspicion about retro, I also shared a similar feeling at first. However, I reread that particular portion, and I feel like it could go either way. He could be conspiring, but he also could just be very in control of his emotions. And I say that because if you have your Bibles, turn with me to page 161.
Come on, Bibles.
At the very second paragraph, Joy asks, "Why aren't you angry about this?" Because of everyone in the room, Retro seemed to be the only one that wasn't treating Ace's defection like some personal betrayal. "Waste of my time," he says and chuckled. "Look, it really is. I got angry at him when he tried to murder one of us. After that, so far as I was concerned, he was not getting 1 second more of my attention unless I was until unless and until I was in a position to do something about him. When I'm not hunting, I want to be having a good time. And being eaten up with anger is not having a good time." That to
Mm-hmm.
me feels very true to his character because he's a flirt. He's a jokester. He here for a good time, not a long time. And feeding into that rage that the rest of the mess hall was in on wouldn't be authentic to somebody who's as nonchalant about life as he seems to be. But I also see what you're saying, that maybe the reason you trying to get to Joy in the first place is because of a greater scheme. Just some food for thought. My first impressions, this book just, I love the pacing. It feels good. Like I said last week, it feels like we back to school with some familiar characters, and I love what we are finding about Mark. We rock it with Mark because Mark rock with us. We love Mark. Um, the battle at Bensonville, baby, I was clutching my pearls because it's like it's monsters over here, it's monsters over there, it's tactics, it's we switching up the tactics. We gotta re-strategize, replan in real time, save the citizens, then all of the and then here come Ace and he gone poof. It was a lot to take in one chapter. But I'm glad that in retrospect we can look back and see all of that was a distraction. Every last thing was a distraction. Um, she talks about it briefly, but we see a lot more with her bonding with the hounds and what that means, and possibly even um, a war tactic in the future to use that bond as an advantage against the other siders. I'm excited to see how that unfolds. And the Great Escape, we saw it coming. We saw that Ace was about to be up out of there, just on how Hammer and Steele's informants were telling them about how Ace was behaving. So again, much like y'all, not surprised. But also, I'm over this character as well, Cam. I hate him about as much as you do, for real. Um, yeah, and those are my first impressions. With that, I yield. Moving into our questions for this evening. Ladies, as you know, there are 8 questions. We each get 2 apiece. And so we have down for my niggas, keep it on the low, hide your kids, hide your Simons, Ace's influence, that dang mage, the true trial, partners not drones, and switching sides. Cam, would you do the honors and pick your first question?
I'm so over you. I'm so over you.
Why? What did I do? What did I do?
What are these? What are these questions?
I did like have a little chuckle at myself when I was writing the titles for the question. I'm like, yeah, this will get them.
Crazy. Um, I guess hide your kids, hide your Simons.
All right, all right. The death of the Simon and the secrecy surrounding it raised political tensions. What does this subplot reveal about power struggles and information control in Apex City?
It doesn't reveal anything new.
Okay.
Everything's a secret. We knew that from book one when they edited out her meeting with the mage on the train.
Mm-hmm.
They want to keep a level of control not only with um the government but with the Sith. They don't want the Siths to know that they're actually in real danger, which sucks because I wouldn't want to be living somewhere where my life is on the line like that. But that's just the world that they live in. I don't think it's much of a power struggle as much as it is egos all over the place because everybody think that they better than everybody else. Meanwhile, Unc in the back, head of the police, just chilling. He's like, while y'all battle that out over there, I'm gonna be over here with my little secret niece, who's really the best out here in these streets. And we're gonna let it be what it be. But if everybody is just convinced that they are better than others. Because the army is like, oh, we gonna hold the mages, but the mages think they all that. But really the hunters is all of that. But really it ain't the hunters, it's the elite because they better than the hunters. They had to go through a trial to prove it. But really it's really the Simons. The Simons is where it's at. But no, hold on. We got the Popos. They're pretty great too. So it's just it's a lot of egos flying around the room all at one time. Cause ain't no way I just found a dead body and before I even can report back, one of your Simons is right here to tell me that I can't talk about the fact that I just found a dead body. So what is it really? Who you really hiding stuff from? Are you protecting your own behind or are you trying to save this behind over here? And then you can even take it back to when Ace defected. And I forgot who said it, but they was like, the only person this look good for is your uncle. Because he was the one who wanted Ace locked up for real, for real. They decided to put him in the army and look what happened. Everybody went against Uncle Charmin, but Unc was the one who knew what he was talking about. And so now everybody else is trying to cover their behinds because they didn't listen to who had the right decision. And it apparently is too much of a burden to be right in Apex City. So with that, I get.
Baby, you just said a mouthful. You right. Unc been right. But sometimes people don't want to listen, or sometimes they don't want to hear it from you. Ooh, I got so much to say about that, but nevertheless, Glenna, would you pick your first question of the evening, ma'am? Are we off mute? Yeah, you're off mute. Okay.
I'm off mute. I'm just reading because sorry, I had to take a work call.
Oh,
Just a second ago. I'll take the Nagas.
Cam is annoyed with me and my titling of the questions, but here we go. I pronounced it Nagas for obvious reasons. But yes, the Nagas are an entirely new threat from outside known territories. How does the sudden appearance of unknown monsters affect the sense of security in the story's world? What parallels can you see to real world fears of the unknown?
Okay. Well, they've basically been not listed living in a status quo, but they've been living in a these are the known creatures we tend to fight. This is how we fight them. This is what we do with them. This is what happens when they're bunched together. And within the process of not just the Nagas, but with also the Minotaurs and things like that, they're like, holy crap, we've never seen those around here. And they're starting to see not just, because typically they were, I think somebody explains it, that they typically see in the area that they live in the creatures that come from the mythologies that they are taught as children for that area. So it's why, they talk about the Thunderbirds in a couple chapters back. That's Native Americans, and you have different things. We are somewhat a Eurocentric adjacent society, so we have all the medieval creatures, all of the mythology from the Middle Ages, all of before the Middle Ages. You have all of that, and so they've only been seeing dragons and this and that and things like that, and now they're getting, wait, where's this thing from Asia coming from? Where is this thing that typically only hits Southern Europe? Why is it suddenly happening over here? Why, things of that nature. So it's definitely an opening up of either the old adage of, is the world getting smaller or is the threat getting bigger? So are they starting to intermix with the other world where it's starting to pass over in different capacities? Or is the threat in the other world or just becoming that much more prevalent? That because there's more holes, there's more things getting across. We don't know. So it's definitely very much an unknown. But the parallels to see in the real world fears, especially right now, we have no idea what's happening tomorrow or the day after. And things seem to be ramping up in our own world just as much as I think it seems to be ramping up in that one as well. And with that, I yield.
Yes, a million times yes. So much going on in our world, governmentally, economically, financially, all the things. Really great connection, Glenna. I didn't even think about the connection between the monsters and their regional history, but yes, like it.
That may be a further down the road explanation. Sorry.
Okay, good to know though. Good to know. Mother, would you do the honors? What would it be? Hello, Mother.
Hold on, I'm reading.
So we still have keep it on the low.
Yeah,
Ace.
Ace's influence, that dang mage,
Mhm.
and the true trial partners, not drones. And what's that? Switching sides.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Uh, let's try. Oops, let's go for keep it on the low.
Keep it on the down low. Joy withholds key details from Josh despite their growing closeness. Do you think her secrecy is a sign of wisdom or a lack of trust? How does this dynamic complicate their relationship?
uh, both. I'm gonna say both. Um, it's wise to keep it secret because number one, um, she's been told not to tell nobody. That's first thing. Because and it's wise for her in the sense that it could cause her more harm if he shares what he learns from her to anybody. else. Even uh her uncle. Because let's be real, uncle is very well aware his stuff is being recorded, which is why he doing stuff in secrecy when it comes to her right now. So and yes, Josh realizes he know a few ins and outs about, how not to be seen when you're in the public eye. But he doesn't I don't think he's aware that her uncle is aware that he's being recorded. So, he go and talk all willy-nilly because this his boss. So no, I don't think it's wise. I think it's very wise for her not to share, because you don't know how intimate his relationship with his boss or anybody else that he works with for that matter is, and who he may feel like he can confide in and share that information, and that will cause harm to her because she's been informed by Simons not to speak, which could jeopardize her family in the long run. In terms of it being a lack of trust, well, that's a key point, in that she's not quite sure who she can truly trust outside of her uncle and her hounds. Those are the only two entities that she truly trusts 100%. But what I mean, she's her trust in Knight is growing, and I think with this developmental friendship she's got with the twins, there's some security, not necessarily trust, but some security in their friendship. But she hasn't been put in a complete position of trusting when it comes to information that could be detrimental to her. And like I said, when it comes to Josh, it's not that she doesn't want to trust him. She just does not know enough about him and his life outside of work, or his life within his job, to know who he confides in when he's not talking to her. And like I said, so it's not that she doesn't want to trust him, but she doesn't know enough about him, I believe. Even though she's known him and they're growing in their relationship, she don't know enough about him to say, hey, I can tell you something in confidence, and you know know it stays in confidence. Because we all know, when we talk to our friends in confidence, we go back and share it with that other friend, or that other parent, or that other ace boon coon that that don't spill none of your stuff, but that's still sharing. And because she's in the position she's in, she just cannot afford her information to get out. So she's still real secluded in what she's relinquishing to anybody other than her uncle. So I think it's both wisdom and a lack of trust, because she's not sure that she can truly trust him with her most intimate information right now. And with that, I yield.
Okay, mother, that's fair. I I will say though, we have seen him share more unexpectedly, even about his upbringing and his mother, which kind of puts me in the mind of um Lord, I forgot what book it was that we read, but Kingdom of the Wicked. When we found out all this stuff about Antonio's background and upbringing, and it turns out that we needed that information to understand why he was who he was in the story, it makes me wonder very similarly about Josh. But a part of me feels like that's gotta be too obvious. There's somebody else who is the snake in the grass. But I don't know. I'm hoping that I'm wrong, because I really hope that, given all the butterfly feelings that she feels when she's with Josh, that's not an avenue for her to feel heartbroken and betrayed later on. I really hope that's not the case.
And
But
I agree, but that's why I said she truly wants to trust him. And even like you say, even though he's opened up, there's not enough information there to truly know his real character. Like you say, we got the butterfly feelings and all that. That's great and wonderful. And we in the early stages of a good relationship, but I don't know if I can trust you with life altering information on me. And like Cammy say, at the end of the day, he's still a Simon.
And you said it to say what, Cam? Because he has the ability to read minds. He shouldn't be trusted.
Yeah. Well, not just that, but you got to be real careful. She got to keep her guard up when dealing with him because you don't know what he's digging into her brain when she let her guard down, and that's why she's so guarded, and with good reason. Because let's call it what it is. Simon's doing something. That's why these folks showing up dead in the sewers.
Somewhere in there, she still, although likes him, keeping in mind this is her first relationship. She's never been in a relationship with anybody else. She said at some point, if given the chance, not even him being her boyfriend will stop her from wanting to go home. So yes,
She
she
did.
likes him, but there's not enough of a build up there. And on some crucial level, she knows for her safety, she has to keep that guard up. Like mom said, she has to be guarded, especially around him, because if she was to slip up one day and not have her little thing on that's supposed to keep,
Her
Simons
shield,
from
Mhm.
Simon
if she
shield.
was to up and have that one day and he decided, she not telling me enough, let me go and peek in and see what she got going on, he could easily do that and she would be none the wiser. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not fair. So as much as we don't want her to get her heart broken, I would almost I would almost rather her get her heart broken by him to fuel her fire to be better at her job and learn how to better protect herself in the future.
I feel that. I feel all parts of that. Well said. Well
I
said.
was just gonna say that's a good one right there, Cam. You clock that T, girl.
Yes. All right. I will select for my first question of the evening, partners, not drones. The hound's loyalty is portrayed as a mutual choice, not forced obedience. How does this bond between humans and hounds enhance the story's themes of trust and partnership? Um, I mean, it's a clear symbolism of trust and partnership, because the hounds are magical creatures, and they ain't got to be there. The fact that they can exercise their autonomy as to who they will serve, which hunters they will serve, is, I mean, it speaks to the theme of trust. It speaks to the theme of partnership in the way that they are joining forces with the hunters to be more effective. And I believe it was Baya or Guachme. I don't remember which hound it was, but
Fire.
Baya. So Joy asked, "Why do y'all hunt with humans?" And the response was that we are better together. That's partnership through and through. And it makes sense. Sometimes it's easier to combat an issue when you have multiple eyes on it and multiple abilities too. So things that Joy is skilled in, the hounds may not be even thinking about. And things that Joy cannot do, like bamf from place to place, well, the hounds got you. So it speaks to a greater theme, I think, of collaboration in addition to trust and partnership. There was also a conversation about um, how the former hounds of Ace interacted with Ace. She did ask them about that. And those hounds explained to her, well, no, he didn't really talk to us for real. He just gave orders and we obeyed. And they seemed sad about that. So I thought it was really cool that Joy took that as an opportunity to tell them, well, if y'all got something to say, please speak up because I like hearing from you. I like collaborating with you. There's that. Cam, I see you have a hand raised.
Girl, I love her hounds, like her original hounds. Baya was so funny because she laying there crying her eyes out. And he said, I have to like you a lot to lick your snot with my tongue, right?
My tongue.
I
You
was
better say
rolling.
that.
I said, this dog is hilarious because he is sitting here licking up her snot and saying, I gotta like you to do that, don't I? And
Facts.
then she started laughing, talking about some I love you too. And that would be me. That'd be me because I wouldn't know what else to say.
No, big
That mean
fact.
you were radar. That
Big,
mean you were radar all day.
yeah, because one thing I noticed in this group of chapters too, she's been very, well, understandably so. She's been worried about a lot of things. But one thing that seems to be at the top of her list is the well-being of her hounds. Are they getting enough mana? Are they okay? Do you feel like you have enough input here? Like she's always displayed that part of leadership, but I think now more than ever, she's leaning towards that trust and partnership and collaboration because of the greater threat that's looming over everybody. Yes, Mom, I see you have a hand raised.
Like you said, but that goes right back to that level of collaboration you were talking about, that partnership. And like you said, Vaya was saying, you know, in general, we like you. I mean, it he said it made sense though that we are, because we work better together because you are fighting the things we eat. So, and for us to stay nourished, it's easier for us to work with you than against you. But then in essence, we actually like you. Now, that's not to say that's the case for all the hounds and their masters. But in this case, her hounds actually like her. And a part of that has been built because of the collaboration that they have had, I think, with her original hounds in general. And the fact that she's opened up her heart to take on, she's shown her true leadership and heart when she took on her best friend's hounds when they passed, and then when Ace's hounds wanted to join, and she was like, "Yeah, come on." And even though it wrecked her whole spirit and drained her energy for them to clap down and connect, she was like, "I'm not gonna leave y'all out here if y'all trying to be with me." And because they initially started to protect her because they saw her purity. So it's like in everything, she still sacrifices for them, which in turn makes them desire to sacrifice for her. And so it shows that they truly care about her because she shows that she truly cares about them. That level of collaboration and teamwork and all that, that goes far and beyond. So like you said, that we like you. And when you like somebody, you will work really hard with them if y'all already make a good part. If y'all already have a good partnership or good relationship, that makes you, because you can go to work all day long and can't stand a person and work with them to get a job done. But let me like you. Oh, girl, we're gonna go above and beyond to get this thing done. We're gonna shine for real, for real. And so it just another level of just that true connection, not just collaboration, but true connection that she has with her hounds that makes her that much greater of an elite hunter. And with that, I yield.
Agreed. Yes, unfortunately, in many work environments, your expertise and your skill sometimes don't matter. You have to be liked to be able to climb or to be able to work with the people that you need to work with. And that's the reality of the world. And with that said, my last 2 points, I hope that the themes of trust and partnership that we're seeing with the hounds is somehow eventually a lesson that the rest of the humans will adopt for their relations between the army and the Psi Corps and the citizens and everybody else who has contention between their groups, because I feel like they work together against the outsiders because they have to. But I feel like it would be a whole different ball game if there was some mutual like there. There would be that much more powerful and that much more collaborative if there was a bit more harmony between those groups. They all want the same goal. They just disagree on how to get it done. And last thing I'll say about the trust is that the masters at the monastery told this girl, we don't know what the hell going on down there, but we know you can trust your hounds above all else. We don't know why the Simon was dead. We don't know why the folk mage tried to warn you. We don't know jack, diddly, or squat. We got to look in our records and get back to you. But we know you can trust them hounds. And with that, I yield. All right, ladies. Round 2 of questions. Let's see. Who will it be? Glenna, why don't you go first this time? Go ahead and unmute.
The mage.
That dang mage. The folk mage who once offered Joy a position now warns her about danger. What might be his motivations, and how does this unexpected help blur the lines between enemy and ally?
So, just based off of the conversation he's having with her, telling her that Ace is allied with the mages on the other side of the town, at this point, all you get is just a hint of something isn't right in Kansas between the mages. There's something. He wouldn't be trying to ally himself with someone of her integrity level, because he tested her integrity level, and I'm guessing he's tested others' integrity levels as well. But he keeps coming back to her, and his draw to her is her willingness to protect the populace despite her own safety. And it tells me that he's looking for somebody with a solid moral compass. And if that's what he's looking for, it means he's dealing with something that's worse than that. We don't know what at this point, but that's where we're at. And I think that we probably won't know his motivations for a while, but I think he's trying to either recruit her for something, or he's trying to subtly, not so subtly, warn her about something. But what that is not fleshed out yet. I think she's struggling quite a bit with the fact that this is a perceived enemy that she's now trusted twice now, or at least given the benefit of the doubt for now. And it's difficult to fathom in her knowledge of the world as she knows it that this is a common thing, and it's not common. It's very rare, and there's no record, at least that they found so far, of a mage altruistically recruiting someone. And he's also given the impression that those humans or mortals that have been pulled through to the other side are not all being just killed and executed like they thought, that they're apparently being kept alive and in various levels of condition depending on who has them. So, what's that say about what's actually happening on the other side? So, it definitely opens up some questions. I think while protecting her in this situation, giving her a heads up so she's not walking into an ambush, it's definitely a thing. But I think he also drew out the conversation with her to keep her out of that fight so that no matter what happened, she wouldn't be blamed. Because motivation could have simply been, if she'd been in that fight and interacted with Ace in any capacity, what's to say the Simons or whomever who were working their BS in the background wouldn't go, are we sure she's on the up and up? This is what happened to Ace. He was in her position before. She was in this general direction. She's causing trouble. Maybe it's the same. So I think it was, I think stalling her and talk, because he could have given that message real fast. He could have said, here's the thing, here's what you need to know, be safe, see ya. But he didn't. He talked to her for quite a bit of time in the middle of a battle. It's not the time to have tea and crumpets. It's the time to say your piece and run. And you're laughing at my terminology, aren't you? But he approached it like he was taking a stroll in a park and just having a chat with somebody he came across. There was no sense of urgency. It was just, yeah, well, you've been having a rough couple of days. This is an interesting thing. This is an unfortunate event happening in this town, but it's an interesting turn of events. Oh, by the way, that could have been conveyed a lot more efficiently. So I think he was stalling her. I think he was giving her plausible deniability. I think he was putting her in a position that now how fast she ran, no matter how fast she worked, short of Dusana teleporting her, there was no way she'd make it to that fight on time. And if she was teleported there, how did she know exactly where it was at? And the questions would come, how did she know she needed to be there fast? So running through town was the only option she had, and it was the only option the mage gave her. So I think there's a lot more going on. I think he's more protective of her than we think. I don't think he's manipulating her as much as we think at this time. But I think he's intrigued by her because she's honorable. And I don't think he's come across an honorable mortal. So I think that's an interesting turn. And with that, I yield.
You know what, girl?
Gotta come through, girl. Come through, girl.
No, because
It's
seriously,
the crump for me.
the tea and
It's the tea and crumpets.
like blah, blah blah blah. By the way, things aren't as they seem. Poof. Yes, Glenna, a million times yes. Always right on the money. So much. I agree. He definitely is intrigued by her. Has been since the train in the first book. Their whole interaction on that train was bone chilling, to say the least. So for him to return to her in this second book says not only was you able to hold your own against this very real and large threat, but yeah, I'm impressed by you, girl, and I want to help you. I want to help you. Why not? I had not thought about it at the time, but you're right. Holding her up gave her deniability. It gave her out for not being able to be blamed by anything, even though she still blamed herself. There was no way without cam footage to definitively say you slipped up. So,
And if I remember correctly, they did pull footage because I remember, I vaguely remember somebody going, "Where were you?" Well, I was running through town, and they mentioned about checking footage. So they were verifying everybody's, because he let her go right before it happened. So if they were keying up footage, he wouldn't have shown up.
Exactly.
So they keyed up footage, which I'm sure I believe Armor Kent kind of mentioned he was going to do. He would have caught her running through town.
Yep. And that was by design. Glenna, you also brought up something that I hadn't thought about, that there is discontention between the mages. I wonder What y'all fighting about on the other side? What's going on the other side?
What's going on?
What's going
What's
on?
going
Oh, what's going on? No, really, I want to know.
Going on.
And what has caused that discontention? Is whatever caused those mages to be at odds, is that what he's warning her against or recruiting her to fight?
Column A, column B.
Hey, who knows? But we gonna know at the end of this month. We gonna know. All right, mother, what will your next question be? We have Ace's influence, the true trial, and switching sides left.
I'm a try for. Ooh, I'm gonna do Ace's influence because Cammy is over Ace.
All right. Ace's possible mind control adds ambiguity to his betrayal. If he was influenced, should he still be held fully accountable for his actions? And how does this question complicate the hunter's feeling towards him?
Ah, should he be held accountable for his actions if he was influenced? Well, I'm gonna say this. Even when we are under the influence, there is a level of truth in our foolishness. So I'm gonna say, just like in Kingdom of the Christ, when Antonio was influenced, he
Well,
had a level already there, which made it easy for the influencer to take hold and control if it such be the case. So I'm gonna say number one, he has a responsibility towards some of his actions. Cause let's be real, ain't nobody tell you to try to kill the child in the first place to get your little A snapper locked up. Okay, but then you gonna get there and turn a 360 in character, baby. Unless you was on some good God given drugs, that don't happen to humans. And the only ones that portray that are the ones that are being manipulative. So, in my mind, if he was under the influence, which is very, very possible, there was already a level of corruption there that heightened his ability to be influenced. Now, how does this complicate the hunter's feelings toward him? Well, what I find very ironic is that before he even went to jail, people had their suspect feelings about him. Because it truly, when something happened to you, folks, the way folks really feel come out. And baby, if they wasn't cutting loose, especially the good girlfriend, whoop, she told it all.
oh yeah, the people were raking his name through the mud in the mess hall, but rightfully
The
so.
people were thinking. But that lets you know they already felt some kind of way, even though they didn't say it for whatever reason. So they already saw the character of a person that you were. And the fact that you took it to a whole nother extreme, got caught, and now are doing something else. This is just what sent the people in the outrage to even have the outpouring of how they truly felt about your character. So yeah, I firmly believe he could have been influenced. I'm gonna say that number one. I honestly believe he's working with somebody, a mage, possibly, an assignment, or both. And but his working with whomever he's working with only fueled that contemptible fire he already had going. And the fact that that has happened means to me the hunters are on point with how they feel because they already had their thoughts about him that they kept to themselves. His behavior in this scenario just kind of added fuel to their already mistrust or unapproval of his behaviors. So with that, I yield.
Well, that that's that on that. Yeah. No, really, them people was talking all stuff about Ace, and I for one just was like, y'all got a lot to say now that he gone. But
But but that happens with anybody. Look at like when R. Kelly got hemmed up. Baby, wasn't nobody saying nothing until he got hemmed up. And then everybody came out the woodwork with whatever they knew, saw, heard, or thought. Same thing with the P. Diddy. Oh, all y'all knew the tea. But then nobody had nothing to say until bro got hemmed up. Same thing Ace going through.
you right. You right about it, mom. You right about it. Mm, 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 mm. Ooh. All right, dear good sister Cam. Will it be the true trial or switching sides?
The true trial.
Mark's true test focuses on his values and readiness for city life, not just his combat skills. What does this reveal about the qualities truly needed to be an elite hunter?
I love this part of the book. I really did. Um, it really broke down the need to value humanity over all else to do this job. But what I really enjoyed about it was the line of questioning, the way that the questions were presented, and then Mark's answers to said questions, because you could tell that Mercedes Lackey put a lot of intimate thought into writing those questions, because his initial answer was, well, I got a girl back home, we want to be together. And he was like, okay, but what else? What else about this makes you feel like you are ready for this job? And it was a really intimate moment among friends, even though one of the friends happened to be like the lead elite. In that moment, you could truly see his leadership role emerging, because yes, he cares about his team, yes, he's gonna chop it up with his people, but at the end of the day, he's still a leader. And I saw that in the way that he was questioning Mark. Now, as far as Mark's answers, I was glad that he didn't have any cockiness in his answers, and he was really able to express the essence of why he wanted to be an elite while still staying true to the reason he wanted to be an elite. And between both the line of questioning and Mark's answers, it really showed me that this was this had more to do with a person's humanity and how much they value a human life, more than I'm just out here killing monsters for kicks because it's my only way to move up in the world. And so I really enjoyed this. I found myself smiling listening to this section. It was really cool for me to hear. And yet there are other qualities needed, like you got to be sharp on your feet. You got to remain vigilant. Like there's all these other qualities that you need to be an elite hunter, but regardless of the reasoning, it really came down to deep down in yourself, why do you need to be here? Like, barring all other things, forget the girl, forget the ratings. What is it that really makes you want to be here? Like, why do you need this for yourself? And I really enjoyed that back and forth, because even Joy was like, I'm gonna sit here and drink this. Like, I don't know what's going on, because I don't want to respond at the wrong time and say the wrong thing. This don't have nothing to do with me. This is his test. And he was even like, I need to know why, because I knew Joy was gonna be an elite the second I saw her and read her interview. Now back to you. And she's like, you know what? I'm gonna act like I didn't just hear that, because I'm surprised, but nobody needs to know that I'm surprised. So let me drink this drink that I don't know what it is, but tastes good. Just my little business over here. And to be honest, that would have been me too, because now's not the time. They don't need to know that you don't know that. You know, just mind the business. I thought the whole scene was set up really well, and it was just hilarious. It was really good. So with that, I yield.
Yes, Cam, I agree on so many things, and I saw some similar things as well. If you have your Bibles, turn with me to page 184. First things first, at the very, very top of the page, that first paragraph, it says, it was pretty clear to me he hadn't thought about that at all. Oh, sorry, let me go back. Page 183, sorry. Bottom of page 183, he says, I know you Christians often don't think that matters what a woman thinks. A fair lot of you reckon that a girl's under the authority of her old man till she's married, and then under the authority of her husband. But you're going to be bringing her here. She's going to see that it's different from women in Apex. I wonder if you thought that through. Skipping down a few lines, Mark replies, maybe that's so for how our parents see it. Her pa promised her to me, and that's all that matters to our people. But that ain't what matters to the two of us. We want to be together no matter what, and Apex ain't going to change her. I agree, Cam. I love his answer to this because it acknowledges, yeah, it's some problematic patriarchal bullshit back in my hometown. But Kent is trying to assess here, are you able to submit yourself to a new way of thinking, one that can possibly save your life and the life of the woman you love? And he goes further down the line into other paragraphs. The man said, if things don't work out between the two of you, for both of your sakes, don't let them fester. Bring the problem to me. That's an order, White Knight. I won't have my elite in danger because one of them is having wife problems and is distracted or distraught. Understood? Baby, Armorer Kent don't play about his people. And yes, this was the true test. Can you put what you think you know aside? Can you submit yourself not just to your desire to help people, but to the tutelage of me, the leader? Do you trust that I will lead you and guide you? Because if you can't, then you put all of us at risk. Yeah, that was so well written, so well written. I loved it. And I also loved how at the very end, instead of just making it a you gonna obey me no matter what, he actually quoted the book that Christers used to show Knight that he is also seen and heard. He did joke with him about it though, like, don't be trying to convert me or nothing like that. But I see you. I feel you. I hear you. That was such a beautiful moment for me anyway.
You right, because he said a line, and I was like, that sounds like something I would say. He said, I read a lot of things. I read about paintings, but that don't make me an artist.
Mm-hmm.
You right. You right about it.
You could tell that Mark lightened up a little bit and was impressed that he even knew that much, because he had been so used to being written off by everybody else in Apex because of his beliefs. So I thought that was really cool of Kent to not only be the type of person who wants that type of knowledge, but to even affirm him in that moment where he's trying to, hold his feet to the fire, so to speak. It was really cool. Um, wait. Oh, we got one question left. Okay. Switching sides. Master Jeffries suggests that humans lost to the other side can return as allies to the enemy. How might this possibility affect the hunters' morale and their approach to fighting other siders? First off, I'm still wrapping my brain around the fact that humans can be lost to the other side in the first place, because how that's happening? What y'all doing to get, like, do portals just be opening randomly and you be falling through, or does stuff come over and take you over there? Like, it did not
It
dawn on
says
me. You know, I got questions surrounding that. But to answer this question, um, the fact that they can return as allies to the enemy, I think it might cause some hunters who aren't in it for the right reasons to wonder what is it all for and give up. Survival of the fittest, if you will. Because if there's enough people who can be swayed so easily, the hunters who are doing it for the good of the citizens, the good of the people they're defending, might just be like, well, then what are we fighting so hard for if we can all be overcome at any time? For others who don't share that same sentiment, it might be even more of a fire up under them to put up a fight. And it might strengthen their morale all the more. As far as approach to fighting other siders, Mom, I see you got a hand raised. Go ahead.
finish your statement.
Okay. As far as their approach to fighting the other siders, I think it definitely causes them to step back and re-strategize, because knowing that you can lose people to the other side means you got to assess how that's happening and how you can prevent it. Which is, I think, really cool. Why Joy was trying to consider, can her bond with her hounds somehow be used as a weapon? Um, that's all I got to say about that so far. Yes, mother, the hand that is raised.
I was just gonna say, as you were speaking, it reminds me of, like, there are so many parallel um, examples of what that could be meaning. It's like good over evil, um, Republican versus Democrat. It's like where you want to go, because in essence, it is a power issue. It's a matter of power struggle. So if the humans were to lose to the other siders, what would be the outcome of that? That's a power struggle. So now that you have the outsiders controlling, you have um, those who have become allies to the outsiders would be the ones controlling Apex City and the communities, because they would have the control over, or would have the partnership with the outsiders, who in turn would kill, eat, whatever, the humans. So it's a constant battle. It's a constant fight. That's why I said
Yeah,
literally is a power struggle in terms of good versus evil, kind of like what people deal with on an everyday basis. No matter what religion you're in, there's always a fight over moral construct, over, immoral.
I
So,
would I would liken this though to like a zombie apocalypse, if you will.
and I
And
agree.
yeah, because some people, their morale would be affected in a way of, well, it's hopeless, we all gonna die anyway, ain't no sense in trying to protect ourselves and try to keep up this fight. Whereas others are that much more vigilant against the fight to stay alive. So I think in that regard, having this knowledge, we're gonna have two groups of hunters with two very different morales surrounding this possibility.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm saying it very much mirrors those things. And yeah, the zombie apocalypse is very much almost the closest parallel you can possibly come up with. But I think, um, the fact is, it's a matter of who has the power. Are the zombies gonna win, or is the people's gonna win? And you're always in a constant battle because of that. And you're right. So it truly is a power struggle. Heck, that's what her uncle fighting right now. The power struggle. It's a political power struggle over who has control over, and that's why the Simons don't want him to know that, yeah, you was right in what you was thinking and putting this boy up under the ground. So all of that connected. It is so many layers of power struggles. It really is. It can be overwhelming, but that's quite entertaining. And with that, I yield.
With that, I also yield, ladies. So that said, um, final thoughts, conclusions, predictions, all that jazz. I'm curious from you all. Who do you think is behind that power struggle? Who's vying for the power and to what end? Oh, Glenna, did you already read this book?
Of course, she did.
This is my comfort series, hun. I've read this series at least 5 times.
Okay.
The whole thing.
Without giving
Okay, well, you can't answer that. You can't answer that.
Okay, no, she can. Okay, but without giving too much away, based on where we are in the book now, who could possibly be the one behind the mask?
You don't think she can give it away if she tell?
Okay, well, how about this? I'm gonna tell you who I think.
Okay, why don't we give our predictions and she can just nod either way?
Because I'm gonna be looking to see how intently you're nodding.
But don't nod. So Glenna, don't nod until we all give our predictions. And if one of us is right, just nod. And then we'll figure it out in the next week. Is that fair enough? Because we don't want her to give it away.
That's true. That's true. Strangely enough, I think
So
it's
you think it's who?
the uncle.
Woo. Okay, Cam. What you thought? What's your thought?
Um,
Wait, you think it's the uncle struggle with who? You think he's behind the stuff?
I think the uncle is vying for power over Apex City because he has some power over the prefects, but he's not in control of the entire city. He still has to work with other groups and organizations. I think he's vying for that power in part to figure out who's causing harm to the Simons. And if he can prove that he's the person who figured it out, they might elect him as leader or something like that.
Okay, that makes sense. I was thinking you were saying he was the reason that all of this foolishness has happened with.
No.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
The reason and the season for all the monsters, I'm not sure.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not entirely sure who's behind letting all these monsters out through this portal, but I feel like it's somebody on the other side, and I feel like it might have something to do with those mages being at odds.
Okay,
that's my prediction.
Cam.
I don't like people, right? So I think it's Simon. I think it's the Simon.
Which Josh. One? Josh. Yeah.
Josh. Because what better person than a person who's extremely close to both the main prefect and his elite hunter niece to be feeding information to the other siders? Because you just met this girl, so what reason do you really have for getting that close to her that fast?
A fair point.
Mm-hmm.
I just want Joy to have real love. I just
You
want her
can have it in the next book.
Real love.
to.
I'm searching for
It's a
someone.
whole other book. You can have it later.
Someone to set my heart free. Okay, sorry. I just
I
had the moment.
I know you're probably right. I just really hope that in this world full of all this fighting and all this, hardcore hunting and strategy and being on guard all the time, I just want her to have a soft place to land romantically. Maybe that's the love.
I truly think that she'll have it. I don't. To me, her and Josh are not in game. They are not canon. No, none of that. I think it's gonna be one of these higher ups. I think it might be Armorer Kent. It's because I like him a lot. Things happen. CEOs get with their secretaries all the time. It happens. So
Okay.
He seemed a
he
little
should.
old though.
That's where my brain went because he's her father's age or her uncle's age or just a little younger.
Okay, maybe I missed that part. Let me back it up some.
And she's like
Maybe.
18. He's at best his late 30s, at most likely his late 40s.
That's what I got.
Okay, then I take it back. It'll be one of the twins.
Possible.
They're only 4 years apart. Nope, I lied. 6 years apart.
The chocolate Fred and George. Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like that for her.
I am
It's
in
just not
agreement
Josh.
I'm in agreement with Cam in terms of who's out here doing things. I really believe the Simons, along with possibly the Mages, there's a higher ranking Simon, I believe, that is out to show that Uncle should not be in control and therefore is doing a lot of the things to make it look like his ability to be reign over Apex City is ineffective and he should be replaced. It kind of reminds me of the Divergent, where you have um, you know, all the different factions, and one faction believing the one leader of the one faction believing their faction is the most elite and should be in control of everything and not. So that's where my mind went. So, but that was my thought, and that it could be one of the high ranking Simons that is trying to knock Uncle down off of what they believe is his power or his rank, so that the Simons could show their superiority and rule and make higher decisions. Now, why they got Simons dying off in the things, I'm not quite sure, but for some reason, that's why. Because Uncle knew somebody else died down there. He's like, I need you to patrol, because I think he wanted her to catch or see if she could catch it happening, or find out. And that's why he asked her to do that particular job, that maybe that she would find some insight that nobody else would, and that's why they're so hesitant on letting her talk. And it's like, no, don't tell nobody. It's anybody's business. We got this. So I
My
just
mind keeps
really.
going back to the date and how he just out of the blue nowhere was asking her questions about her patrols. And I'm like, I feel
Yeah,
like you probing for info.
sus. He's sus.
I'm
So
just
that's why I
saying
said I
Josh is
think,
sus since book 1. So it just
but I, but I,
further.
but that's yeah. So that's why I believe. That's why I say wisdom over trust, because she don't know him like that. But I really feel like because of that, the Simons, like we said, they have mind control. They do things. I really feel like they are in cahoots with possibly the Mages from the other side, just to prove their point of they're the superior culture of people that should be in control of Apex City and possibly the other groups. So now we're here with all of our predictions. Is any of it hitting anywhere? You can just nod.
Some
You
of
ain't got to get. See, so one of us, we got some in there.
One of us is right.
partially.
Oh.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay.
Oh.
Ooh, okay.
I'm not going to tell you who, but one of you is partially correct.
Okay.
And another one of
Mhm.
you is partially correct.
But we got two
Ooh.
partials. Does it make it a complete? Two partials.
Okay, now I'm really excited for week 3.
I'm excited.
I want to see
See,
who's right.
that's why I said don't let her tell. Just let us know if we close. So now we got
Okay.
purpose on the next read.
I'm excited now.
So, any other questions that might be burning about this group of chapters, ladies?
Not
No.
a question, but have a comment for the end.
Okay, go for it.
I was just gonna say, make sure, Angel and Glenna, that you have your book choices for next week. 'Cause
Mine
Mom
won't
does-
change.
Okay, you are going to. So, Angel, I just need yours for next week. Mom, you don't get an option this month because you got 2 books in a row.
Mine will say the same as well.
Okay. Oh, that makes for an easy wheel. Okay, cool.
Yay, the magical wheel of reading comes next week. All right, well, if there's no other predictions, questions, or any conclusions to share,
Mm-mm.
okay.
It's too early.
It's too early. Yeah, understandable. Well, ladies, it's been a good week. We will pick this right back up next week, chapters 11 through 15. 11 to 15.
Okay.
11 to 15.
All right. See y'all next week right here on the Family Plot. Bye.
Bye.